Hello and welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. This week's episode is brought to you by Cousin Brent's Ball Bags. Are you looking for a ball bag that won't rip open and spill your bowling balls all over the dirty floor of a bowling alley? Well, good news, bowling nerds. The all-new line of Cousin Brent's Ball Bags is now on sale. You better believe that Cousin Brent's got that primo ball bag shit. We're talking double ball bag size with rollers that have 3-inch rubber wheels with a retractable, square, non-locking handle that fits up to shoe size 16. You might be saying, well, mysterious non-committal accented voice, that sounds pretty impressive, but why don't you put the fucking cherry on top of this ball bag sundae? How about a goddamn 6-year warranty, you jagoff? You burnt! Head on over to cousinbrentsballbags.com to get the ball bag that you so desperately need. Enter the code MINDGAP at checkout to get a free embroidered microfiber bowling towel to make sure your balls shine brighter than the sun. This week's episode is brought to you by Elephant & Castle, located at 185 North Wabash and 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois. Look, I know you're looking for that perfect English pub experience so you can grab some incredible drinks and tasty food. Elephant & Castle has you covered. They have excellent daily drink specials, happy hour Monday through Friday from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m., and some delicious-ass food for you to chew on while you watch some fucking sports. Come on down to Elephant & Castle at 185 North Wabash or 111 West Adams in Chicago, Illinois, and tell them that Mind Gap Podcast sent you. On this week's episode, I give Justin an update about how my daughter's been a bit of a dick to me lately. We discuss the delicious bounty of Aussie food that was gifted to us by the wonderful Jared Urbis. Justin talks about getting a physical and we discuss our vices, and then we talk about how the Harry Potter sequels are a bit disappointing for me. Grab your seats, get your tickets, and get ready to ride this train to Podcast Town as we scream choo choo and head into episode 213 of Mind Gap Podcast. Mind Gap Podcast. Natalie will ask where something is, and I go, it's up your butt. And she just looks at me perplexed. She goes, it's not up my butt. I'm like, I think that's where it is. Did you check up your butt? And she'll kind of like go, it's not up my butt. I'm like, all right, get used to it, because this joke's coming. All day, every day.
Your joke's going to be on you when she finally like sticks a finger in there and goes, no, and like just starts wiping that everywhere.
Oh, that's cool. I'll take her outside and hose her down like a goddamn prison criminal she is.
But not before she gets poop on all over your house.
That's fine, because then she'll come in and clean it up with her mouth.
Oh, God.
Yep. Don't fuck around in my house.
DCFS listens to this show.
I know they do.
Yeah, okay.
Shout out to DCFS. This episode of Mind Gap brought to you by DCSF.
DCSF.
DCFS.
This episode brought to you by DCFS.
Maybe that will be the fake ad. I don't know if that'd be funny, but I'll see if I can try.
DCFS.
DCFS. We take care of your kids.
We slather them in DEET.
Oh, DEET is good for you.
No mosquito bites for your children.
No life for your children either.
When you have a DCFS.
A DCFS, we take care of your bugs.
Welcome to the chat. I don't know why capitalized chat. Yeah.
She's been kind of a dick to me lately.
Why?
Don't know. I think she's just leveled up as a personality. She's like become much more complex in how she communicates and stuff, but at the same time, she can't handle her emotions. So like she's just at the drop of a hat. But she's like, there's some days where she's mean to me and I can handle it.
Yeah.
And I'll just be like, nah, I don't fucking care. Whatever. Be difficult. But there's other days where I'm like, I made you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and you won't let me get you out of your car seat? Why? Why can't I wake you up from your nap? Why when you go, Dad, you can leave now? I'm like,
Doug, if that's starting now at, what, 3.5?
Like I said, there's times I can handle it, and there's other times where I was like, not today, child.
You got a long road ahead of you.
This weekend, like, she was just being such a dick, and we were going to go to the library. We were going to go to the bookstore. We were going to hang out. And we got into the car, and she was just being so like, "Meh, I don't want to be around Dad." I literally just calmly looked at Jill and Natalie. I go, I can't do this. Open the door, and I walked out. I go, you guys go. And I just went back in the house. I was like, I can't do this right now because I will fucking lose my mind. I'll be like, fuck you. I will just, I was proud of myself to be like, this would be a bad idea to try and attempt to continue on because the slightest thing will set me off and it won't go well.
Yeah.
And it's been a rough few days, rough couple weeks really.
Yeah.
And she's been kind of just a dick about it. And I turned to Jill and I go, look, someday this is going to turn on you, and I just want you to know I get it. I got it first, and I'll be here for you.
Yeah, that's I can't even imagine how rough that is. Like when you,
tough.
I know, yeah. Well, because like when you were younger, when she was younger, when you were younger too, there was that point where like her and like Jill was nursing her. And so there was it made sense that there was going to be a bond there that was different than what you and Natalie had. And I know there was times where she was like, Mama, and she wanted Mom. And you were like, at the time I was like, does that bother you? You're like, you know what? No, not really. It's cool. And I was wondering if that were to continue, if that would start to wear on you.
Well, the thing is, it's just the way in which she says it.
Yeah.
And I know she doesn't really understand, but she's just such a dick in the way she communicates.
There's not malice behind it, but it's just an unintended,
it's
like...
rude.
Yeah.
And when she does, well, she'll be like...
It doesn't take the sting
away. I want
away.
Mom! And it's like, fuck you! Like, I'm here. Right. Mom's downstairs. Efficiency-wise, I'm right next door.
Right.
I'm going to come get you because you're awake. And she's like, well, I don't want Mom. She's like, I don't want... I'm just like, okay, I'm not going to...
Right.
And there's some times where I'm calmly going to be like, I'll just let you work this out. And other times I'll be like, fucking knock it off. And, it's just, it doesn't go well.
Yeah.
And, but I mean, there's times too where she's really cool. Like one of the new nighttime rituals is she wants me to go upstairs and she wants me to hide and she tries to find me.
That's cool.
Which is hilarious because I used to scare the shit out of her. But she likes it, which I love.
So she doesn't just like bust out crying.
She kind of like has that weird, like over a course of 1 second, you see all of the like terrified into laughing into like, oh, that was really cool.
Yeah.
Do it again.
She's got to process the emotions. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's been really fun because I've gotten her pretty good a couple of times.
Yeah.
Like I was hiding behind the bed, but she thought I was in the bathroom. So she was like focusing on the bathroom and I was in her periphery and I went, lah! She goes, she collapsed to the ground. I just saw it all the range on her face. And then she ultimately just started laughing. And she's like, one more time.
More time.
No, it's time for bed. And last night, I was hiding behind the door of my office, and she like came in with Jill's flashlight on her phone. So it's cute just to see this little flashlight.
Looking around.
Yeah. So that's been fun. And she's also, we play this game on my computer called Orcs Must Die 2. It's a very fun, silly game. It's like a tower defense game, but you build traps and try to kill orcs. And she'll be like, Dad, do you want to go fight the orcs? I'm like, fuck yeah, I do. Come on upstairs.
That's awesome.
And I'll set up traps, and she loves the fire traps because as they walk across, they like go, as they catch on fire.
So you're teaching her to basically really enjoy torturing other beings.
Other monsters.
Well, I mean, look, just because it's something just because the orcs don't look like you.
They're bad. Yeah. That's
Jared, come back.
There's some propaganda, right?
Jared, come back.
Jared, come back. You can blame it all on me. Jared, come back.
I don't know the rights to that song.
For the record, I'm almost through all my Tim Tams. I've actually made it over a week.
I will. I brought those to work because I was like, it'd be fun to people bring in when they travel to other countries, they'll come back with treats, and I'm like, I haven't traveled to another country in a while, so someone brought these to me. I'm like, Beth had some. Don't worry, Jared. And then I was like, I'll bring these to work. Monsters at Work demolished them. Like we're talking like an hour and a half, 2 hours flat. That thing was.
I'm impressed they made 2 hours.
Torn apart. It was just fucking monsters. And I will say this too: the Vegemite crackers, not bad at all. Not bad. I could not taste it did not taste like Vegemite on a cracker. It just tasted like a seasoned cracker. I had quite a few of them that day. So
and then
well
threw
done.
It out and cursed and set the trash on fire.
That's right. I said, no, not again.
Back to the dimension you came from, beast.
The Tim Tams, did they taste? Those were so. I don't know how you guys have teeth.
Yeah, right.
Jared, those were so sweet, though.
Yeah, I know.
I don't remember the first pack being that sweet. Do you?
Oh, I do.
Do you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Maybe it was the Tim Tam Slam that made it that cuts that sweetness a little bit.
Keep your slam, that's for sure. Ooh, that was gross.
Right now, the Tim Tam Slam coming up.
Ugh, yeah, no, I was afraid because, by the way, Jerry was very nice and gave us those Kinder eggs.
I smell that.
Yeah.
That burp you just made
Yeah.
is now on my side of the table.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
blew
gross.
it down. So I mean, based on Jetstream this time of year, I mean that would obviously flow.
It's not
you
good
know,
at all.
and guess what I had? Guess what that's from? Can you waft it in and think what
Honestly, it smelled like a Cool Ranch Dorito.
that's not.
And I know you don't eat that,
No,
so
I
I'm
don't.
very confused.
So we got
There might
Pepsi
be-
in there, but what else is there?
Was there teriyaki chicken?
Nope.
Okay. Was there broccoli?
Nope.
You had something with spices.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of garlic.
Was there garlic in there? I thought I smelled garlic. Was it a pasta-based dish? Rice. Salad?
Nope.
Okay.
Salad. How dare you?
I'm just asking. I don't know.
Pizza.
Was it pizza? I was going to guess. My next guess was going to be pizza.
Now, what company? What brand?
Well, Jets.
Yes.
Yes!
Nice. He did it. First try.
Yeah, I can smell Jets pizza, guys. Interesting. He said, Jared said, pretty sure Chris took dark chocolate Tim Tams to you. So, which is interesting because I feel like, isn't dark chocolate, I guess it's more bitter, not sweeter. I wonder if that makes a difference. We're going to have to do a taste test now. We're going to have to go to Australia and get both Tim Tams and do a taste test.
There we go.
A Tim Tam taste test.
Tim Tam taste test.
Yes.
On a Tuesday.
Yep, on a Tuesday.
On a Tuesday. Yeah, they were delicious, and I was afraid because he gave us those Kinder eggs, and
So tell the listeners about your Kinder egg.
Well, so if you know what a Kinder egg is, you fucking idiots, it's an egg that's not. It's so awesome, it's not allowed in the U.S.
Actually,
it's a band.
That's not true.
It's very true.
I found those at the market in my building.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's an illegal item, so don't report them.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I will take a picture of it. I am 99.9% sure it was a Kinder egg.
So essentially, it's a chocolate egg, and inside there's a plastic container that has like some toys inside of it.
Yeah.
So the idea is that kids have bitten into it and swallowed shit and choked on them. So
I just call that is natural selection. That
I
is
was like,
Darwinism at its
that's
best.
called food.
That's called food.
My big thing I've always had is like gushers. It's like choking hazard. I'm like, all food's a choking hazard.
True.
All of it. But
It's
I get
very
it. For
true.
that specific thing, it's usually kids are going to be eating it, so I get it. But
Sure.
that aside,
Again, natural selection.
Jared was so kind. He brought these all the way from Australia, and he gave them to me. And I'm like, I can't wait to give this to Natalie. And as I was
Now it's an egg, to be clear, again, if people don't know, it's
Sure.
an egg that is meant to be cracked open when you are ready to consume it. You crack it open and the prize is inside. So it is a fragile egg.
Yes.
Made
Made of chocolate,
Made
yes.
of chocolate. And Jared transported it from Perth to Sydney, from Sydney to maybe one other layover, and then to Fort Wayne, Indiana, and then from Fort Wayne to Chicago, all in one piece.
bad news,
Multiple eggs.
Jetstream may be bringing another burp your way. I'm sorry.
I hate this. Multiple eggs. He carried all the way through. So basically, he passed his junior year where you had to care for the egg, right? Okay. So he made the baby come safely to America.
Yeah.
Then he handed it to you, and in 5 minutes, what happened?
No, it wasn't even 5
It
minutes.
was less than 5
He handed it
minutes.
to me. I'm like, I can't wait for Natalie to get this, and I dropped it, and it broke open.
Prize came out, and I was like, all right.
I just stared at it, and I was like, well, I guess I got to eat this now. And I ate it, and
So
I
Doug
took the
consumed
toy.
it and opened the toy.
And Justin, being so kind, was like, he hands me, he goes, this needs to make it home.
Right, I gave
to
Doug
Natalie.
mine, and I was like, I don't need this.
Yeah, he's like,
Natalie can she'll
Take
love
this home. And he put it in my pocket,
Right.
in my jacket. And
I was like, make sure that you don't break this.
it didn't make it. It didn't make it home. I was on the train and I got in. As soon as I sat down, I pulled it out. It was already like cracked around the edges, and I was like, "How did that happen?" I was like,
Well, probably also because it was melted.
it was fucking
hot
hot.
as shit that day.
"Yeah, it was very, very hot." But it was also so I was just sitting it very gently on the Tim Tams. But then I was hungry, so I opened up the Tim Tams. I ate a couple to make it a cradle. That's why I ate the Tim Tams.
Absolutely.
to make a little cradle.
Smart is what that was.
And before the end of the train ride, it was just coming more and more apart. To the end, I was like, "No, it's cool. I can still make it." Then by the end, I was like, "Who are we fucking kidding?" And then like a quarter of it just like caved in. I'm like, "All right."
no.
I was like, here you go. I was like, I'm just going to hang on to that part. And Jill, I told Jill, I go, these did make it. She goes, wait, so who'd this come from? I was like, our guest
Here
from
we go.
Australia. She goes, so you're telling me he got it all the way from Australia and you
This
couldn't
is-
get it fucking home? I'm like,
is why I love Jill.
understand the story, Jill. I'm not a government agent, okay? I couldn't do it. All right? What do you
why
want
I
from
love
me?
Jill.
Yeah, she
She gets it.
Yeah, she
Jill
fucking gets it. So, but yeah, those were delicious. Those were fun.
So yeah, another big thank you to Jared. If you haven't listened to his episode, go back a week and listen to that episode. We had a lot of fun with him, and we very much appreciate him coming all the way to the States.
Yes.
We got to hang out afterwards. Doug had to go home because he lives in the burb, but we went out and had a beer afterwards and talked a little bit. So very,
cool.
very fun.
That's
very
cool.
cool guy.
Yeah.
And lifelong friends now. We're besties. We have an Aussie bestie.
Right, Dan.
That was a perfect Australian accent. I have not been to the doctor in well over 10 years. I'm dying.
Okay.
All right. No, I have not been over to the doctor well over 10 years. I finally had my first physical in
I was like, what are we doing?
probably 10 to 15 years.
Nice.
I had it yesterday.
How are your balls?
Fine. There's some vein in there that I got to watch out for, whatever.
Wait, what?
So they do this thing now, though. When's the last time you had a physical? Like, do you go annually or?
No, I probably should.
Right.
I used to get my blood drawn yearly because as part of Jill's awesome healthcare package she had with one of their companies, like they
Biometric
required that.
screenings?
It was amazing. They draw blood and you knew exactly what was going on with what, but that doesn't happen anymore. So no, I haven't had a physical in a while.
So they do, and I don't remember this at all, but they do what's called the safety portion now, and they ask you these safety questions. So one of them, they lead off by saying like, "Do you feel safe at home?" And it's like mental. I think it's more like a mental health. Are you just doing safe things? And how's so? Which I thought was interesting. But this is where. So for those of you who are listening for the first time, those of you who know me know this. I'm very sarcastic, and anywhere where I can crack a joke, I will take that opportunity. And so he goes, "Do you feel safe at home?" And the moments where in your mind it's like 5 minutes you've been debating, but it's it's like a nanosecond. Mm-hmm. So I went through this entire thing of like. I wanted to say, absolutely, I feel safe at home, but it's only because my wife tells me I have to say that. And then I started going down the road of like, where could this lead? Because
that's the guy who's like, what do you got in the trunk? Oh, just anthrax.
Exactly.
That's the kind of thing.
All right, step out of the car. I was kidding. Doesn't matter. You can't say bomb in an airport.
Nope.
Go to the back. Yeah, exactly. So when I say I was so close to saying it, Doug, I was so fucking close to saying it. And then I went down this road of like, well, okay, so this is a doctor. He has to take anything I say seriously here. So this and this and this. And I'm like, I better hold back on it. But I thought it was, I was very disappointed I did not get to make that joke. But I thought it was interesting that they do this this thing now. And they ask like, do you bicycle? And I'm like, sometimes I skateboard. Do you wear a helmet? Yes? Good. And he said, good answer. He goes, when you take a Lyft, Uber, rideshare, taxi, or when you're driving, do you wear a seatbelt? I'm like, yes? And I'm like, I don't when I'm in an Uber or a Lyft.
How dare you?
Do you?
Yes.
Really?
Always.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Promise. On our friendship.
All right. Well, he's serious. Yeah, I don't.
always do.
But I said yes because I didn't want to start an investigation. And so I was just answering the affirmative.
We're going to, he's just talking. He's like, that's great. He presses the button under the table. Guys come in. They're like, sir, you're going to have to come with us for 24-hour observation.
Truth serum. They're like, all right, sir.
Better to serum.
Yeah. So it was just interesting. They asked, then they got to like the alcohol thing and how many drinks do you consume, this and that. And then they asked about...
You should ask how many I consume up my butt.
Right. You ever heard of butt chugging?
Yeah.
Oh, it gets you drunk.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo.
Choo, choo.
Get close and whisper that in his ear. Choo, choo.
Why are you getting out of here? Please sit down. Please sit back in the chair. Choo, choo.
Sir, did you know the proper amount of chuggas before chew is 4?
Chugga, chugga. Chugga, chugga.
Choo, choo.
So I feel very gross right now.
Yeah.
So,
or you can still stay on that bed. Yell that as you orgasm. Chugga, 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 chugga. Choo, choo. Great. A 4-year-old just made love to me.
All aboard.
Destination reach.
Last stop.
I'm all out of steam.
Ticket, please. You get really into the role play.
It's like, God, what are we doing?
No ticket. What does that even mean?
I like Indiana Jones.
They threw me out of bed and they stopped having sex. It was
no
weird.
Ticket.
No
Who are you talking to?
He punched me and threw me out
through the live stream.
Right.
We're streaming.
You guys get that? Okay, we'll be right back.
All right, cool.
Chugga. So Jared goes, pulling out of the station. Yes, absolutely.
Sir. Well done.
Pulling out, that's it. Oh, God. If you subscribe to that method of birth control,
You say that like when you're done.
Pulling out of the station! Choo-choo!
I want that as like a ringtone. You just yelling choo-choo.
Choo-choo! Fucking Christ.
Oh, my God.
But then he asked about caffeine, too, and I'd never been asked about I've been asked the alcohol thing, I've been asked the smoking thing, but never caffeine. He goes, caffeine consumption. And I was just, I was like, a lot.
You're like 3 milliliters.
I don't know. What
are we talking?
We do a metric system? Because I just got done talking to a guy from Australia. But I was like, a lot? And he goes, how many cups? I was like,
just straight caffeine?
Yeah, I was like,
what are we
talking?
Are we
like mainlining this? What are we doing? I was like, I don't know. And then I started thinking about it, and it made me realize I'm like 6 or 7 cups a day, and I'm like, that's too many cups of coffee. I think I now have a coffee problem. Like I did not ever have this problem before, but once we got the new coffee makers at work, I consume coffee like it's water. I'll have a glass of water and a glass of coffee.
Well, there you go.
Or a cup of coffee.
Well, then no problem then. If the water cancels it out.
Yeah, that's what I told him.
Coffee's also 98% water, so there you go.
Do you know what? You're right. Yeah.
Hey, when you're right.
I was shocked at, like, the alcohol. I'm like, I've thought of that. The caffeine, I guess I've never just really sat and thought of. You're not a coffee guy.
No.
But is there, like, what do you have a equivalent in the morning that you do? You said Mountain Dew sometimes.
I shower. That's like my coffee. Like if I don't shower, I'm lethargic the whole day.
Okay.
Like that's like get me up and going.
Same thing though. Like if I don't shower, I'm not me.
If I need to get a jump start in the day, and usually I'll go with some fucking tea or whatever we have, and there's like some stuff that's not like old English tea where. Or English
breakfast tea.
Yeah, the breakfast tea where I'm like, nah, I gotta have sugar and cream for that to make that go down. But there's like this Zen tea that is also good if I have a sore throat or whatever. And I just like I sit there, I stare at it. I'm like, once you're cool, because you can't let it get too cold because then it's like drinking poison. But then if it's too hot, you're sipping it, and I'm like, I just need to down this in a shot. And then I'm always like, I just make some horrible noise, and then it usually helps.
It's amazing that you don't
tea is the biggest lie in the human history.
Please elaborate on that.
The fact that someone tells me tea tastes good, I'm like, okay. And I go and I taste it, and I'm like, this is lightly flavored hot water.
Okay.
I was like, this does not taste good. Like, what about this? And like, well, you got to add stuff to it. I'm like, so it's just like the coffee thing. We're like, well, did you put cream and sugar in it? I'm like, yeah, I've done that. It still doesn't taste good.
I do my tea the same way I do my coffee.
You know?
Plain.
Yeah. And it's like...
And it tastes amazing.
And I've had people like, well, try these combinations. Put this, like, this orange in with this flour. I'm like, that tastes like tropical garbage. Like, I don't know what you guys are doing here, but tea is a fucking lie.
Yeah.
It smells good, just like coffee smells good. Like, I'll smell that all day. I'm like, man, that smells great. I wish it tasted like it smelled.
It does, is the thing.
False.
Now, do you like cilantro?
I like salami.
Not the same thing.
Oh.
But do you...
News to me.
Do you like cilantro? Because there's people... I feel like you might have a similar thing. There are people who... Like Milos. When he tastes cilantro, he tastes soap. And there are people that like have like a taste bud of... Their taste buds or whatever, however their taste buds are made up, do taste
What are you
differently.
getting at, Justin? What are you trying to call me right now?
A Serbian.
Oh. Wow.
I think it's obvious.
I get to go home and tell Jill she's sleeping with a Serbian. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just think, I'm wondering if you're like just
definitely don't. It's just I think what I'm looking for is a flavor of Pepsi, like a strong.
You want everything to be pop.
Well, I'm just saying, like this is what I'm used to, and people are like, "Oh, it tastes so good." I'm like, "Cool." I'm looking for a refreshing drink. This is what I'm used to. And I'm thinking like, "Ooh, let's get something, whatever." And I drink it. I'm like, "This is bland and flavorless," and it's like it's again the fact that it's like. Because I've had warm drinks like hot cocoa, and I'm like, ooh, here's a little bit of sugariness there and a little comfort. Put some marshmallows in. I'm like, ooh, that's good. It's comfortable. And I'm like, yay! Some sort of non-broth with a bag of garbage in it, with a bag of leaf clippings. And it's just like, wow, it tastes so great. It can taste the allspice.
You can ruin anything. We're going to do...
That's a new segment. Doug can ruin anything. That's easy though, because the challenge in life is not to. It's too easy to ruin everything. It's just how can you make something great, and I can take the
and
easy
you can't.
I can't.
But what I was getting at initially is, do you have something where you look when you reflect on it, you're like, fuck, I consume way more of that than I thought I did.
I mean, I've tried to regulate soda intake
Yeah.
and stuff like that. I try to keep it.
When we were at a assignment desk, like, you would down the sodas.
Yeah, I was pretty bad about that. I've tried to be better with it. Like, when I'm at work, I usually only have one with lunch.
Yeah.
So like that's about the most that I'll do. I try to keep it. I mean, I at this point I have a little bit of soda every day, but I try to keep it pretty. I don't do anything straight Pepsi. Like, this is Pepsi Max. This episode brought to you by Pepsi Max. So it's like not as bad. It's not great, but sugar content and stuff isn't too bad. But I'm sure there's cancer in there, so you take what you get. Excuse me.
What do they sweeten this with? It's not like aspartame, is it?
They sweeten it.
Caramel color. That's how they sweeten it.
That's
with the
how
caramel
you do
color.
it. The caramel color. But yeah, that's the one thing.
Acyl flame. Acyl fame.
Acyl fame. Asshole flame.
Asshole flame.
No, I think sugar, in general, is definitely something that I have a very strong pull to. Like
Phenylalanine?
If I know,
it contains phenylalanine.
You know Phenylalanine? She's from the Philippines.
Yeah.
She's the sweetest lady. She used to work at the hotel.
She's amazing.
Yes.
You were saying sugar. Sugar's your thing.
Sugar's my thing.
Yeah.
If I know there's treats around, like I always tell myself, I'll just have a little bit. And then I'm like, I'll have a little bit more. Then I'm like, well, it's almost bedtime. I should have some before I brush my teeth. And then, like, we have a giant Costco-sized container of M&Ms because that's kind of what we would use to, give Natalie, like, oh, good job, you took a dump. Here's a couple M&Ms.
Like when you train a dog. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Exactly. And I'm like, I'll just have a handful. And then I'm like,
did you take a dump?
Always.
Well, okay then.
And I was just like, just take a handful. And I'm like, what am I doing? And the worst part too is I will see it. I'm fine if I don't see it, right? Okay. But then I walk by and then I'll obsess about it. I'm like, there's little mini cinnamon rolls right there. I'm like, you can just have one. Just one. And I'm like, well, it was just one. They're not that big. They're mini cinnamon rolls. And I'm like, that's another one. Yeah, portion size are also a big thing. Like, if I'm not too great about that, but sugar in general, I'm a real fucking sucker for it.
For me, the thing that I'll get lost in, besides in my morning routine with the coffee and everything, the other thing that I will get lost in, and I won't realize how much I'm eating until I start getting a stomachache, is like chips or crackers or like anything salty and crunchy. It's over. It's game over for me.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and mindlessly eat a bag of it, and then I'll get like almost down to the end of the bag, and I'm like, I should stop. And then I'll go, well, why should I stop? And you're just like, I feel like garbage.
Well, that's the worst part.
My tummy hurts.
There's the part where you're like, holy shit, I ate that much in one sitting, and then you're like, well, it's almost gone.
Right. Right. Well, it's like when I was, and welcome to Mr. Adult Moment is on the stream. When I was out.
Adult Moment.
When I was out in California for the thing, Drew and I, when we came back to San Diego the night before I left, we were on his porch, and I bought a bag of chips, and I was like, we'll buy this, and I know you like these chips. We'll leave them there. And I ended up just mindlessly eating most of the bag of chips, and I just remember laying on the couch that night going, I've made a grave mistake.
Yeah.
A grave mistake. Because their bathroom is in their bedroom.
That sounds like
so I just sat,
a great story.
I sat all night on that couch going, how long until the airport?
To that, and you're being like, how often do you think they look under these cushions?
Where's that fucking litter box?
Guys, I think your cat's sick. See you later.
Oh, man, what did Cappy do? I got to go.
There was this funny, like Jill and I always reference the story because back when 22-year-old Doug was in his prime, I went out to eat with my mom and some of her friends at Outback Steakhouse, the true Australian place to eat. And
that's where we should have taken Jared.
Yeah,
Come on, man.
He would have loved it.
Oh.
And
Bloomin' onions.
I got like appetizer, entree, and dessert. And back then, it was like, even a little bit to this day, people would be like, God damn, you can eat a lot. And I took it as a badge of pride. I was like, you're goddamn right I can eat a lot because I'm a big boy. And it was like, this felt good when people were like, you eat a lot.
Yeah.
And I was like, looking back, I'm like, that's a sickness. Like, that's not okay.
It is, yeah.
People struggle with this their whole lives. And it's like, it's a sickness. It's a demon in my blood. And we went back to the hotel, and I was like, just laying there. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, I ate way, way, way too much. And then like 15 minutes later, like we had this giant bag of candy.
No.
I go, you know what? this sounds crazy. I go, I think I'm hungry. Jill goes, really? And I rolled over and everything shifted. I go, nope, no, I'm not. Just kidding. Apparently there was a little room that had settled and I shifted and I was like, no,
fully good.
Not good. And we reference that all the time. I'll roll over and be like, bad news bears.
I definitely have been in the same boat. Early on in our relationship, I think when we were still dating, Beth and I went out with another couple to a restaurant in her old neighborhood, and we got a couple appetizers, entree, and then we got it was a big cast iron skillet cookie.
Oh yeah.
And I ate my fair share of that. Mm-hmm. Probably more than my fair share. And it was one of those things where Beth was like, I thought you were eating a lot that night. And I got home back to her place. I was like, I don't feel well. And the night went on. I'm like, I don't feel well. And I went on and I went into the bathroom like, I don't feel well. And I just lost it. And I was like, that was a waste of money.
That was a waste
of money.
Oh man,
it's terrible.
It's so funny too. Like when you have those moments and you're eating a lot, and all of a sudden you're like, your body just. Have you ever had situations where you're like, you have to just poop like immediately? Like your body's like, clear space now, emergency vent.
I don't know if it's ever come that like in the immediate.
Like I've eaten a lot, and then all of a sudden it's like shortly thereafter, my body's like, okay, we should probably make some space here because we got a big delivery here, guys.
Eject.
We gotta go. It hasn't been like just diarrhea or anything, but my body's like, get it out,
right?
Like, get it out of here because we're processing and we're gonna have a lot of problems. Get a move on.
I'm curious. Jared has piqued my interest. He said, if and when you come to Perth, I'll take you to Outback Jack's. He said it's what Outback Steakhouse wishes it was.
Oh, I bet that sounds awesome.
So, Jared, I'm going to ask you as we continue on here, please tell us why. Mm-hmm. I'm very curious about that. Yeah.
I also said it sounds like a great strip club.
Outback Jack's. Mm-hmm. Come
it's
on
what
down
Outback
to Outback
Steakhouse
Jack's.
wishes it was.
Eat some steak, look at some titties.
Look at some areolas.
Outback Jack's Bar and Grill.
Ooh, that looks delicious, man.
Ooh, franchising. Let's look what.
Yeah.
What is that? Meaty pork ribs.
Ooh, that looks delicious. Looks like a really good steakhouse. It looks like a Fridays or a Chili's.
What is it? Cannington, Northbridge, and Darwin only. Glendale, Manillet, Rouse Hill. I don't know which one. I'm going to do this one.
Yeah, that was a good choice.
Trucker menu.
It's Tucker menu, you fucking moron.
Now that's a great stock.
I love being unnecessarily aggressive. That's like one of my favorite things to do.
I'm just going to keep reading things wrong. I want you to correct me as I read them.
You fucking idiot.
You fucking dumb fuck.
I was doing that today.
Oh, salads. Hold on. I got to see. Let's see what
Okay,
Jared...
hold on. Oh, salads!
Well, no, because Jared said he was making fun of the fact that we put sauces on everything.
Oh, that's true.
And every time I've eaten a salad since, I have been very, very aware of the amount of salad dressing that's on it. And I'm like, God damn it, Jared, you made me aware of salad dressing.
Yeah,
I won't stop,
but I won't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, none of this
Caesar salad.
Caesar dressing.
Salad
there you go, Jared.
It, you know? Yeah.
Otherwise it's just a Jack's Bush salad. It's Jack's Bush salad. Don't get that one. It's very dry.
You got to get through a lot to really get to the meat of the salad.
Bushranger salad basket. Wow. Okay.
Outback beef salad.
Outback beef salad. I feel like these are purposefully double entendre.
Outback beef sounds like, if that were a dirty, if that were like the Urban Dictionary sort of like sexual innuendo, what is the definition of Outback beef?
Well, I'll tell you, we went for a walkabout. Sheila and I went for a walkabout.
Sheila and I.
Yeah. Oh, my Sheila and I went for a walkabout, and one thing led to another. Had some Outback beef.
What does it mean, though?
You know. If you have to ask, you're not ready for it.
So if we define Outback beef, it seems like a very wild, gamey, and like tough piece of meat.
It's when you've been in the Outback for 3 days on a camping trip. Neither of you have showered, and then you just go to Pound Town.
I like where you're going
because it's very gamey.
Outback beef definitely seems like we've been hiking in the woods, but we still love each other. We want to cherish this moment, and there's not a lot of foreplay. There's just like passionate smash down, like it's going down. Yeah. I love it.
I like to think it happens next to a thicket. or some sort of a bramble.
There's definitely some bushes involved in more ways.
Very
more ways
dried
than one.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
dried out bushes.
It's one of those things where it doesn't happen often.
Right.
And it's like not something you really speak about. It's a special thing. Like we had some Outback beef. Like it was very, very, very.
It was your anniversary today, right?
Yeah.
It was. Yeah. What'd you guys do? Wow, Sheila and I went
But you don't really talk about it. You're like, well, we went camping. You're like, oh, that must have been really nice. Yeah, it was.
It was great.
It was very special.
We had some alone time.
Yeah, I get it.
That's it.
That's it. That's all. We looked at the stars.
We looked at the stars.
We looked at the fucking stars.
I really need to figure out the difference because I feel like I slip between Kiwi and Australian very often.
Yeah, I think. Yeah. That's exactly. I can tell it the moment.
Did you hear it?
That's your tone changes, your intonation, and your cadence. It switches a little bit.
Yeah.
You have more staccato. I could just tell from your palate that it's vibrating a little bit differently when you vacillate between Kiwi and Aussie.
These prices aren't bad, man. These prices are not bad. Oh, wait. What is this down here? Toppers, sauces, and dressings. Jared, I think you lied to us. I think you guys do sauces just as much as we do.
At Outback Jack's.
Outback Jack's, a trucker steakhouse.
Now, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
If Outback Jack was a sexual thing, what's an Outback Jack?
Do we really have to explain? I feel like that is... Well, no, here's the thing. It's not what you expect it to be. It's not at all what you expect it to be. It's actually the cuddling that happens after the Outback beef.
No, I would say Outback Jack is a even more passionate, like pounding, because it's like a jackhammer.
I just thought it was a hand job in the Outback.
That, or it's a guy by himself,
right?
Who's taking the nature gets to him. He's like, I can't handle this, and he does an Outback Jack.
He's a real Outback Jack. That one.
I've seen it
happen. Don't go camping with Kevin. He's a real Outback Jack.
That guy is one hell of an Outback Jack.
He will Outback Jack all day.
He marks his territory, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
That guy loves nature.
And do not bring your Sheila.
No.
No.
You won't like. I mean, you'll hear howling in the distance. But
it's a type of root.
It's a type of root. Go find me an Outback Jack. I don't want to.
You remember what root means.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So both Outback Jack and Outback Beef are in the subcategory of a good root.
A rootin' tootin' good time.
A rootin' tootin' good time. We are going to be on the lookout for Mind Gap's translation dictionary coming to your stores.
All your
just
stores.
In time for the holidays.
Get a gift.
Yeah.
Get the new buttons that say Outback Jack. And Outback Beef.
Outback Jack, Jared says it's when you reach behind and give yourself a tug between your cheeks.
Oh, no.
Outback Jack. That's it, man. You nailed it.
Oh, man.
He should know better than anyone. He's from Australia.
He gets it.
They coined it.
He's from Australia, Missouri.
That's,
you know?
Yes.
Yes.
Good.
Are there any continents that are named as like cities in the U.S.?
Absolutely. I think there is.
Like in Africa?
Yeah.
Illinois? What a confusing name.
Named. There is. It was actually literally. I just came across this the other day, and I can't remember where I was looking. List of locations. What U.S. cities are named after countries? How about that? There's an answer for this.
There you go. Like France, Colorado?
I know I saw one that was named Australia. Peru, Indiana.
Yeah.
Peru.
I've seen Peru.
Kansas, Peru, Maine, Peru, Massachusetts, Peru, Nebraska, Peru, New York, yada, yada. There's Mexico.
Yeah, Mexico, Missouri. We've got that
there's Poland. Turkey. Turkey, Texas. There's Germany, Georgia.
Oh, my God.
There's China, Texas.
Yeah, but what about continents? Is there like an Asia, Tennessee? That's exactly where it would be, too, is in Tennessee.
Cuba? Let's see.
Is there a Europe? Europe, Arizona?
Places named for a list of U.S. places named for non-U.S. places. That is such a poorly written. Oh, boy. Hold on.
Because that would be absolutely confusing and hilarious. You walk in, you're like, hey, guys. Welcome to Australia.
U.S.
North
cities
Dakota.
named for continents. Let's see what we have. List of biblical names in the... No, we're not going to get what we need here.
You know what
I'll tell you what. Listeners, figure it out for us.
There's only 7 continents, so...
You do your work.
You do your job for once.
You do your job for once. I'm tired of research.
It's funny because whenever I play games like SimCity, I can name a fictional character, no problem. But you asked me to name a fictional town, I'm like,
Just put anything with Berg after it.
I was like, Asperg.
Nope, that's wrong. I did not think that could go south. That went south.
I'm always like, Ville. I'm like, what? Darksville.
Oh man. We just dropped viewers.
Areola Town.
We gained him again.
There we go.
So yeah, it's fair. Towns are harder to name.
Thank you for
Bricksburg, right?
Sure.
I just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a stupid name, so try again.
Carpetville. Tabletown.
There you go.
I'm just looking at things in the room.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Dougsburg.
Emailopolis.
We're terrible at this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, naming cities sucks.
Yeah, it does.
That's why they steal them from other places. Like Paris is a good one. We'll just use that.
We'll use Paris again.
Yeah.
I'm often. Well, I guess. I mean, like Chicago was taken from a root of a Native American word, wasn't it?
You gonna really use root again? Really? In that context?
Yep.
Yeep.
Oh, Ian.
Yeep.
Oh, he's got the yeeps again.
Yeep.
All right, someone shut him down. Kevin, Doug's got the yeeps again.
Yeep.
All right, it's better. Thank you.
More dangerous, but better.
But better. It's creepier, but he's not gonna hurt himself now. Might hurt someone else. Won't hurt himself.
Yeep, yeep.
Yeah, I don't know how. I don't know. I would be terrible as a city planner, city designer.
I would be terrible at building buildings.
I would be terrible at laying things out, naming things. Like, you tell me to name a street, I'm like, I don't know, 4th Street.
Right? Yeah.
Okay, can we do the number thing here? Is that stuff out at the table? Yeah, I would be terrible at having to come up with the infrastructure of all of that, like naming conventions and all that kind of garbage. The people who do that, good on them.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's a different type of creativity.
Yeah. I mean, I could come up with shit, but it'd be like, because it's like, well, what's around here? Well, there's ash trees, so we'll call it Ash Street.
Asheville.
And then there's a bunch
That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's really... Swampton, yeah. That's how it works for the most part, I think. I mean, that's probably what they're like, what do we got around here? We got the dirty old creek. We'll call it the Cricker Road,
Yep, that's it. We're currently sitting in Basementopia.
There we go. Yeah.
That was a terrible name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm telling you, man, naming towns and places, it's difficult.
Yeah.
It ain't easy.
It's why we don't do it for a fucking living.
But you want to tell me to make up a character's name? You got it.
Make up a character's name.
All right. Here we go. Ronan O'Gura.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Fuck.
That's a common character name I use for most of my video games.
Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just terrible at coming up with things.
Like fantasy names, I got them all day.
When I am writing something, I always will go through all right, name Rick? No, that's a stupid name. Bob? No, fuck. I don't know what to name him. And so then I'll go to a name generator and I'm like, let this computer name it for me. And I'll be like, great, that's it. Mm-hmm. There's only one thing I've ever tried to write that I actually researched meanings of surnames to try to figure out put the surname to the characteristic of the character.
Yeah.
And it was exhausting.
Oh yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do this again.
Because some of it I feel like, is if you go down that road and you're overthinking, it's actually, if you look at the etymology of this name, it would tell you the whole story the whole time. Like Professor Lupin in Prisoner of Azkaban, which Natalie has watched. She wanted to watch. She's watched the first 3.
I am very surprised that she watched Prisoner of Azkaban. That's an intense one. That's where it starts to get into with the werewolf.
Well,
it starts to
what got really intense for her was Chamber of Secrets with the spiders. We had to skip.
Oh
that
shit!
part.
I didn't even think about that.
Not to mention the giant basilisk too was also pretty scary.
Yeah. What about Voldemort in the back of his head?
Yeah, that part.
Okay?
That part was kind of rough on her, especially because she touches that guy's hand, starts fitting. He's like, ah! I'm like, Jesus, man.
Did she get worried about the back of your head?
No.
At all?
No.
To really freak her out, you should draw a face on the back of your head.
There's a lot of ways I want to fuck with her, and I might add that one to the list.
Or you should get like some of those, just get some prosthetics. Really, at some point, we'll really like make a day of this. I'll come over, we'll get some of that like that shaping gum that they use for the bald caps and everything.
Yeah.
And we'll really like go to town making a face on the back of your head. And then you can just walk around acting like it's normal.
Yeah.
And then when she goes, Dad, you go, what?
Yeah.
You know?
You go, what? The end.
The end. What?
And the video ends.
Yeah, that's what.
What?
World star?
Jesus Christ, war star. Yeah, that's funny stuff. But yeah, she's really been into it. I've been really thrilled about it.
Did she ask to watch them? Did you say, hey, why don't we try this?
I introduced her. I said, hey, there's a movie I'd like you to watch. It's called Harry Potter. And she watched the first 20 minutes and she's like, I'm good. And then she quit. But then later on, a couple weeks go by, she's like, I want to watch Harry Potter. I'm like, cool, we'll watch it. She watched it all the way through.
Interesting.
And then she watched that first one for a while, which is by far my least favorite because it's just so childish. And I'm like, ugh. And I go, just this weekend, I go, Natalie, there's another one. I go, there's actually a lot more. Do you want to watch it? I go, I'll let you know. This one's kind of scary. She goes, oh? I go, yeah. I like, if it gets too scary, you let me know. We'll stop it or we'll skip past it. Okay. She's like, okay. And she started watching it and, she was really enjoying it. And then, once we got, the only part she really struggled with was the spiders.
Yeah.
And,
I do too. I don't blame her.
It's like it gives the close-up shot of like Aragog and he's like talking. He's got his eyes look like they're wet and she's like, I don't like it. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's fair. I'm cool. We can just skip past it as the spiders are about to attack. She's like, and the basilisk too, because there's that animatronic part. I'm like, hey, just so you know, it's going to get a little spooky for you, but it's going to be all right.
Yeah.
The Prisoner of Azkaban wasn't too bad as far as like, you've got the wolf, you got the werewolf. The Dementors and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But it's not too bad. She got a little freaked out with the Dementors, but not too bad. And then apparently while I was out getting groceries, she texts me, she goes, she wants to watch the next one. I go, yeah, no, don't do that.
It's where what's his name dies, right?
Well, I was like, the end's kind of scary, but I was like, no. I mean, the first part starts with an old guy getting murdered. There's a snake.
That's
then
right.
He goes to the Quidditch World Cup, and then the Death Eaters show up. And then, you got all the
dragons. You've got people trying to
She
drown.
probably liked the dragons, but I think the underwater stuff would be kind of scary.
Just the whole maze itself.
Yeah, that part's really scary.
Plus, Mad-Eye Moody's a little creepy.
Yeah, it's like Voldemort comes to pass. The guy cuts off his arm.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of things where I'm like, I don't think that would.
We've watched 1, 2, and 3. Now we'll wait a couple years.
I was like, I would love to continue watching these with you. So when I told her, I go, when you get old, I just there's books with these. I was like, and Mom and Dad can read them to you,
That's
and when you get older, you
awesome.
can read them yourself. And she seems to really like it.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
The thing that I think is fun about that is that you introduced it to her, and then let it you didn't force it.
Mm-hmm.
You were like, cool, you're done, great. And then she just sat on that and let it marinate for like a couple days or a week, and she's like, that thing we watched, I'm curious.
Yeah.
What else is there? And she came back to it. That's a cool age to be at where they can actually, it's not just like they see something that leaves them. Like they sit and they've processed it for a while and they're like, I've been thinking about this, Dad.
Oh man, she remembers stuff, and I'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
How did you remember that? But yeah, that's kind of my thing is like, I'll introduce something to her and I'm like, I'm not going to ram it down your throat.
Yeah.
But it was just like the time she was like, I want to watch Avengers. I'm like, are you sure? I'm like, okay. I mean, we'll fucking watch it. I'll watch that all day. And she turned it on. She fucking loved it. She loves Endgame.
Yeah.
She fucking loves that movie.
Has she?
She's not like Infinity War.
I was going to say, does she? Yeah, no?
Yeah, she doesn't like Thanos in that one.
That's fair.
She's like, nah, not a fan.
Because he wins.
No, that part where he's just beating everyone's ass, she's not a real fan of it.
In the forest? At the end?
Yeah, at the end. Because I was watching it just to get ready for Endgame, and I was like, hey, I just want to watch this. And she's like, I don't like Thanos. Just not a fan at all.
Yeah.
Thanos just beating ass wholesale. And I'm like, yeah, no, sorry.
That's an interesting thing, too, because I never really considered that as a kid, you're watching this, and I don't know if they have a concept that it's fake. Like, they're
Probably
seeing
not.
this, and they're like, these people are getting hurt. Legitimately thinking like,
For a long time, like whenever some sort of action would take place, she would get really uncomfortable.
anxious,
She's like, because I think she was still trying to process all that sort of stuff. Now she just asks a shitload of questions.
Okay.
All the time, which I know gets worse as they get older. I remember watching this video. This guy's like, I'm going to record myself watching Star Wars episode A New Hope with my 6-year-old for the first time.
Okay.
And he's like, there's a lot of
Fun
cuts.
time to start, yeah.
And all of it was just, he's like, who's that? What's this? What's this? What's that? What's this? And the dad was so patient. He's like, we'll just have to keep watching. We'll have to figure that out. And then he sees Darth Vader and he goes, is that his dad? Like and not like he knew, but it was just a common question.
Yes.
Because Natalie will see like a smaller creature with 2 other creatures. She goes, is that his parents? Is that mom and dad? Is that their baby? And what Harry Potter do?
Or that kid is a fucking savant. He's going to be like the next Jesus.
Well, it's funny because the guy looked over at the camera and he was like, no, he's like, just keep watching.
Sure, no question, no more questions. Yeah,
because that's
pretty cool actually.
It's also kind of hard to explain to some degree. It's probably harder to explain to an adult who's never seen it. It's like, all right, they're space wizards, okay? Before as a kid, it's like, that's a Jedi. What's a Jedi? Well, they have these laser swords and okay, cool. They'll accept it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Natalie is like, at first I was like, Natalie, especially the first 20 to 30 minutes of Harry Potter, really isn't that exciting for a young kid because not much happens. And then once they get to the school, it gets a little more interesting as things are going on and things like that. And, when the troll comes out, that kind of scared her originally. I'm like, it's just a big dumb troll. It's fine, no big deal. But then she's like, she just asks questions and questions and questions.
Nonstop.
A lot of times she'll turn to me, she goes, can you answer these? Because I don't really know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I got it. I was like, I'm all over it. And I told her, I go,
you wheel out a whiteboard and you're like, all right, let's start. Time travel.
All right. So according to what J.K. Rowling wrote originally versus what this garbage movies that are coming out now, which completely fuck up the timeline, but we'll get to that.
If you read the manuscripts.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I was reading some stuff because I just recently watched Crimes of Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And
did you like it? Yeah?
It's okay.
It's a setup movie.
Very much a setup movie. Yeah. And I'm not as big of a Harry Potter nerd as other people are, but a lot of people have complained that it ruins the time that has been laid out as far as like when things are happening in the movie or and
I guess
not
I'm
what
not
has been
as savvy to that, so I'm not the one to refute that, so I'll believe it.
Yeah, it's things like, oh wait, Dumbledore is at the school at this year when in actuality he should have been there like 10 years later. So it's kind of like
he couldn't have been at the school at that time.
There's people apparently know the timeline of the stuff really, really well. Same thing with McGonagall. Apparently she wasn't supposed to be there, and that's where I feel like we're getting a George Lucas approach to some of this stuff now, where it's like, hey, look at this last name. You recognize this last name because that's in that other stuff. And ooh.
I'll tell you what, when the next one comes out, I've got a massive Harry Potter fan that we can have on, and then we can lay this out.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Because that's the thing where I'm like, I get where this new series is building to. It's, the fight between Dumbledore and Grindelwald.
Yeah.
And, some people are like, what? Blood Oath? Have you seen Crimes of Grindelwald?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. They're like, Blood Oath? There was no Blood Oath. They just fucking fought each other, But again,
I do think it's interesting that they set up a love between them.
Yeah.
They did set up a relationship. So, like, it's not that, I think Dumbledore might have been gay. He might have had it was just like flat out, no, they were together.
Yeah, they were very overt about that. When their hands touched, it was, I was like, whoa, okay, got it. Okay, sure.
Choo-choo!
It's more like choo-choo.
Avada choo-choo.
Avada choo-choo. Which is another thing. At the end of Chamber of Secrets, by the way, interesting note, when Harry gives the book to Dobby, which has the sock in it, and it frees Dobby.
Yeah.
And Lucius Malfoy turns to attack Harry. He's starting to say Avada Kedavra.
Is he?
He goes, Avada! He's going to fucking kill Harry Potter right there at Hogwarts. He was going to murder that kid right there on the spot.
But how happy would Voldemort have been? Just to go like, all right, hey, cool, we're good.
But I was like, dude, like how?
Right. I didn't catch that.
That is, it's funny because I read an article somewhere where someone had pointed that out, and I was like, I don't remember that. And I watched it just the other day. I was like, oh shit! He was going to straight murder that kid at school outside Dumbledore's office.
Yeah.
He's going to be like, fuck you! You stole my elf from me. Like, what? What?
Right.
That's like,
fuck you back to fronter.
Unforgivable curse, just bam, dead kid. Like, what?
I'll be leaving now. Come, house elf.
He just goes, oh shit, I did it.
Yeah. I did it!
skips away.
Disapparates and
That was another thing. Everyone was like, I thought it was kind of nitpicky when Crimes of Grindelwald. People were like, I thought you couldn't apparate into Hogwarts.
Yeah, but didn't they apparate onto the bridge?
They were outside.
Right.
Yeah, I was like.
So again, like, is it where that? Like, when are you on the grounds of Hogwarts? Is it when you're on the bridge? Is it next to the forest? Is it inside? I thought because I had the same thought. I'm like, I guess they're on the bridge technically. Now, when they did the in the final Harry Potter, where they did the protective dome around the school, it did go out to the bridge, mm-hmm. so that was technically covered. So if you're going to go by like that parameter, sure, that's on property. But I always took it to mean like when you are in or on around the castle. Like the bridge is still this weird no man's land. Mm-hmm. You're going over a giant crevasse.
Yeah. Essentially, if you're gonna teleport in, you have to do it at a point where you have to cross. Like it's a checkpoint that they're gonna force you down, right? Yeah. So if you're gonna apparate in, cool, you're just outside the bridge. You gotta walk across the bridge. It's something that they can monitor.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
You're not just gonna be like, poof, I'm in the Defense Against the Dark Arts classroom, and then poof out.
Right.
Like that's where I was like, guys, fucking relax.
Poof into the cafeteria. Take a few of these.
Yeah,
and
right.
Poof.
Like that's where I was like, okay, relax,
right.
You fucking nerds. Like, calm down. But
I didn't mean to apparate into the wrong bathroom. It just happened.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of what they're doing with the prequels. I'm like, where we could really explore this. I love the idea that they went with a character like Fizz gets lollipops, whatever his name is.
Newt Scamander.
There we go.
Like, there's no way you got it that wrong.
See, I can make up names. I'm the best.
You really are. I do, because what they are succeeding where Star Wars failed in that they're not following Harry Potter. They're not going to his parents, his grandparents. Like, it's a completely, like, sure, they've got Dumbledore there, but they're following it's like Rogue One. They're following a different person.
But the thing I don't like is you've got the Lestranges in there, and you've got these.
But the thing is, I think in a sense, you do have to include elements from the world that you know. Like, I think it's almost
sure. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. I was done.
I think that's where I would disagree with you. Is like it should be complete nonsense. No, you should absolutely have stuff that you know, and that's where I feel like things like them casting magic and the fact that this is a guy who wrote a book that Hermione read. I mean, that alone is a really nice offshoot.
Yeah.
When we start bringing in some of these other families and stuff like that, especially when you introduce Lestrange into this, and then, spoiler alert, she dies. It's like, wait, where are the other Lestranges? Like, what?
Yeah.
You know, I'm like,
well, I had the same thought too, because I'm like, where's Beatrix then?
Yeah, and I was like,
or Bellatrix or whatever.
Like, okay. And then it's just like there's this other Dumbledore, which I'm like, wait, was there ever another Dumbledore like officially? Because there's Albus and his brother Abathor.
Oh yeah, Abathor used to ran the inn.
Yeah,
that Harry Potter came back to.
So now apparently there's a third one.
Oh,
because that's what the Flash is. He told him he's a Dumbledore.
Oh fuck, that's right.
And I was like.
In fairness, I watched this on an airplane. No. I don't necessarily remember.
Unacceptable.
All of this. Yeah.
Get with the program.
Sorry.
So I was like, I just would have preferred again.
Yeah.
Have the Dumbledores of the world be cameos or have them be side characters. And I love the Newt Scamander. I loved the whole exploring of the first movie was still didn't sit well because I thought it was kind of boring. But the idea of seeing,
I enjoyed it. I thought the first movie was really good.
I thought it was okay, but I was like, who are these characters? I don't care about any of them.
But see, now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth because you can't, like, you're like, I want brand new characters, but I don't care about these brand new characters. Like,
well, that's just bad storytelling is what that is.
How?
Because I could still care about characters that I've never met before, but from my perspective, when I watch the movies, I'm like, I don't feel like I care about these guys.
Well, what could
it has nothing to do with them being new.
What could they have done to make you care about them? Like, how did they not set that up for you?
Well, it's just like, you have the love interest, right? In that movie. And I was like, I don't know who you are, and I don't.
But you meet her in the film.
You're right. I did. I sat down with her and I was like, "Tell me everything about yourself."
Right. Where'd you go to high school?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Come on. What was your wizarding bullying years like?
Right.
Tell me about that. No, it's like, yes, I'm introduced to these characters, but I don't feel like, so when things are happening, when dire circumstances are happening, if it's like, oh my God, they're in danger, I don't feel that like, oh my God, don't let them go.
Well, they're not gonna. You know, they're not gonna die.
Well, it's just situations like that. Like I've seen movies where I'm drawn into characters. I'm like, oh my god, what if? And I care about they make me care about the characters and what they're going through.
I'm just curious as to what was missing for you then.
Well, because it's like it's been a while since I've watched it. I remember watching it.
Sometimes it's not a tangible thing that you can like put your finger on. I get that.
I remember just being very sort of meh about Newt and being very meh about the New Yorker guy and what the whole purpose of the movie and everything like that. And I don't know. I guess I didn't fully understand exactly what the Flash was in that movie either. I don't know what his name is.
Love that you call it the Flash.
And it seemed like kind of a jumbled. They were trying to hit all the points of a Harry Potter movie where they try to give you red herrings and mislead you because at the very end you're going to come across something that's like, oh, it was this the whole time and things like that. And it tried to replicate those elements, and I don't feel like it landed them as solidly as it could have.
But I also think that you're playing from behind the eight ball because you you have such a beloved, legendary story that will go down as like one of the big, like how Tolkien wrote Lord of the Rings, and like for it even now today that's still, but like when he wrote that was like this defined this era. I fully believe that Harry Potter takes that mantle for this era, like the 90s, 2000s, like. That is Harry
Hands
Potter
down,
land, yeah,
without a doubt.
But I lost my train of thought.
You're saying that?
I think you're playing behind the eight ball because you're following up to a movie that was that intensely loved,
and you're making it a prequel, which is a real big risk.
Hard to do,
especially when you created a world.
Yes,
and you're doing world building, and then you're adding to it, and at the same time. In some situations, like again, for some people, they're not adhering to a timeline that they've already established as far as like who's here when, and it doesn't add up. It's sort of, it pokes holes in that world in a way that can irk people.
Sure,
and
I get
while
that.
some of that stuff, I'm like, fucking chill out. I also get it because you're not honoring what you've already created and you're making tweaks and stuff for the sake of a story that is also at best kind of lukewarm to me.
I can respect where you're coming from with
because
that.
I imagine, because the thing I loved about it was there was especially when you read the books, like the whole people would talk in hushed tones about the duel between Dumbledore and Grindelwald, and you're like, whoa, and there was not a whole lot clear about it. And I would love to see that, and that's obviously what they're building towards. But at the same time, like they're crafting so much stuff around it. They're kind of like building up in a way where I'm like, I hope you can deliver.
I'm not going to lie to you. I did have the thought to that point that I'm like, I almost, and again, watch it on the plane, so I don't, it is what it is. But I almost did have kind of a hard time. I'm like, there's a lot to track here. Like we're following a lot. Like we're starting to really kind of splinter off. We got a lot of things happening.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to really like grasp what we were doing with the other Dumbledore. Yeah. I was like, I don't know where your story's taking you.
Yeah.
So I do understand
it's
where
like
I'm like
Nagini's in it.
Well, and so we have a new person popping in here.
What's up, new person? State your name, your sex, and your location.
ASL, baby. Etoy07. First time here, met Jared when we visited mutual friends in Indiana. Turned me on to you guys. Love your show.
Nice.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Can't wait to share all these movies with my daughter someday. She's only 11 months old right now, so I have some time.
Hey, congratulations.
Yes, congrats. And then he said Nagini was a cool backstory too. Maybe not needed, but was cool. I agree. I think, and I know you don't like it when we explain where things come from, but I did think that it was kind of cool to see, to know that I'm like, oh, Nagini was I don't know if they call it an anamorph or whatever they call the people they can change into, but like the more that she changes, the longer she stays in that form, yada, yada. I thought that was cool. Again, I don't know if it was like paramount to or like a necessary crux of the story. I just think it was cool.
No, that's a good point. Like, I look at that stuff where I think that this person described it best. It was completely unneeded. It was unnecessary. And that where it looks to me is it feels like pandering. It's like, guys, guess what? Nagini's in this. You know what I mean? I'm like,
but they didn't lean into that nowhere in the beginning in the previews or anything. Did I see them go and Nagini?
Yeah.
Like they didn't really lean. So that was just something that they kind of sprinkled into the story.
But at the same time, I feel like it wasn't necessary. You could have saved whatever time you spent on that. But also they probably were like, well, how do we get, the Flash
we got to connect it
out of the circus?
Right.
But I was like, it could have just been anybody. It could have been anything. Because why did she have to be Nagini?
But why? This is my part where I feel like I argue with myself, but I I always land on the opposite side of that. I'm like, but why not? Like, I don't think that because you do I know we've talked in depth about, like, in Star Wars, like, leave the Skywalkers alone. Like, spread out.
Alone!
Leave Skywalker alone!
I sound like a great.
Leave Brittany alone. You spread out and explore more outside of the things that we know. We've talked about that, but I don't think that there's anything wrong with tying in elements to what exists, because I think that is yes, it's a little bit of fan service, and it's a little bit of pandering, but I do think that it helps to build. If you can see, like, oh, this movie connects to this movie with this thing, like it does, I think, help to build the larger world. So I don't think to me, I wasn't upset that Nagini was in it, because I'm like, okay, that's another connection point. That's another thing that they're connecting these two worlds with.
But if you're trying to build a greater world, why be stuck with the characters that you already built?
But if you only focused on Harry Potter or the Potters, I would agree with you. But bringing in, like, a sub character like Nagini and not really focusing on her, she was in scenes, but it wasn't like, now let's find out the backstory of Nagini and let's see exactly. We didn't delve into her backstory. True. So I think just the fact that she was just kind of there, and you're like, oh, that's got it. Like, to me, that made it, for me, that makes it richer.
But at the same time, I look at that, I was like, and this is me, and I already know what your response is going to be. I was like, I don't need Nagini's backstory.
Do we need any of this?
I mean, I don't need to know how the snake became a permanent snake, and then the snake was actually never once a permanent snake. It was a beautiful woman in a circus. It's like, I guess we can add it to the wiki now that Nagini was originally a woman in a circus. And, yeah. Because I love it. It's like, the more she turns into a snake, eventually she will be a snake, as the guy, the ringmaster.
That was like, a bit of exposition that I'm
like, and she will serve the Dark Lord. Wait, who, what? She will become a Horcrux. What?
Wait for the first book. I will admit that bit of exposition was very heavy-handed.
Get it? Right. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Those are the things where I was like, because the things that I love is...
If they had just sprinkled in that she was Nagini, showed that she at one point transformed into a snake, and didn't lay into that.
Yeah, right.
That would have been, I will agree, that would have been better.
I would have loved it.
Wait, did they say Nagini? Like, and you're just like, holy shit.
Now you're talking like my kind of thing, because if he would have been in the circus and that was one of the acts and stuff, and it was a quick thing. It was like on a poster board, it was like, woman who becomes snake, right. Nagini. You'd be like, oh, cool. And he just travels with anybody else.
I don't even mind him traveling with her. But again, I think for me, what went over the top was the spelling it out in big bold letters.
Yeah, because also like what I'm afraid of is that she's going to have an arc where we're going to figure out how she became.
That is a worrisome point. Yeah.
This sidekick of Voldemort, where I'm like, because she seems like a really good character. I'm like, there's an Anakin moment in here, isn't there? I saw dreams.
So where I honestly thought this movie was going is not that he was going to be a Dumbledore, but that his real name was Tom Riddle.
That he was going to be a dumbass.
Yeah. I honestly thought that they were that was going to be the big reveal. And I'm like, if they go there, I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Like if they make this guy, that's not your real family. Your actual name is Tom Riddle. And then Nagini's like, what? And just transforms into a snake at the sound of his name. Like, I thought that's where it was going. I'm like, all right, this is way too predictable.
Oh
if I can guess it, it's far too predictable.
Yeah, it's just, because what I've loved about that stuff is you get to see the monsters, like in the creatures. And getting to see America, with their...
Thank God. Finally represented in movie. You get to
see
America.
See how that stuff works, and then also like going to Paris and seeing the whole world, like how they all that magic, no pun intended, exists. Yeah. And I'm like, those are the things that I love, and I love to see, and I love experiencing that sort of stuff. But it feels very. Newt seems like such a weird character to me. Like I really want to like him, I really do.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm just like, ugh. I don't know what it is about him. There's something about him where I'm just like, God damn it. And of course, Nicolas Flamel has to fucking show up. He's the guy with the Sorcerer's Stone, with his...
Did not catch that.
What?
Yeah, which one was it?
He was the dude in Paris. Like, he's the guy that shows up and helps. He has like the he gets his arms broken by the New York dude because he shakes his hand. He's like, I'm 639 years old.
Yep. I remember
That's
him.
Nicolas Flamel.
Cool.
He's the guy that has the Philosopher's Stone from the first book, the first movie.
Yeah.
I was like, does he need to be in this?
Yeah.
Like, really?
Yep.
Fucking Flamel needs to be. It's like those are the things where I was like,
Fucking Flamel.
it's like all we need to see is C-3PO over there being built by fucking Fatty McGee in there or whatever, you know? It's like, Jesus Christ. Or he's like, I got a great idea for a movie that involves robots and space wizards. It's like, what? You know, wizards in space, you know, but with swords.
You're a wizard here.
Yeah.
Then there's wizards up there. And maybe wizards down there. Wizards all over.
It's just, I don't know. Those were the things where I was like, I do not need those references. Flamel is such a who gives a shit sort of thing. Yeah, he created the Philosopher's Stone, all that sort of shit. Does not need to be in the movie. Like, just doesn't need to be there. Explore. I love the stuff of. I just kind of wish even what was her name? Letty Lestrange, was that her name?
Sure.
If she wouldn't have been a Lestrange, it still would have been cool. You know, that whole story about, you know, she had birthed this. I loved that sequence of, you know, Dumbledore doing the whole, what's the name of the thing that turns into whatever you fear the most? I forget it.
Yeah.
You see that because like this is something they've always done, and out comes this very beautifully and sad thing that she fears, and she's like, what is this? It seems very just traumatic, and there was a lot of really cool moments that I was just like, I just wish she wasn't a Lestrange, because the whole time we're like, whoa, Lestrange, and we're thinking about Lestrange, and then she dies, and you're like, okay, well, that was nice. And some of the people were like, Dumbledore never taught defense against the dark arts. I was like, oh, wow, I don't know where that's written, but cool, I guess. And they're like, how come he looks like such a dapper Dan and he's not wearing robes? I was like, that's actually a kind of a fair question.
No, it's not. You don't start wearing robes until you're 300 years old.
What about the kids in Harry Potter?
Yeah, well, that's school uniforms.
Yeah, right? Because someone took a picture like, here he is looking super hot in his three-piece suit.
That's fair.
And then it's like, in 10 years, he's going to be looking at it's like the picture of him wearing his big purple robes and his hat. They're like, how do you go from this to this? Like, what happened?
It's the 20s to the 80s. That's a lot of time to pass.
It's a big time to do it. You know what I mean?
Big time to pass.
Yeah.
I think that's a little okay. I'm just saying.
I was like, that's a dumb thing to point out, but at the same time, like, it's a good question. I want answers.
Answers, please.
So, if you just want to make Jude Law look hot, I'm okay. I get it. Makes sense.
That's the other thing, is that I could not. And this is just maybe just me, but I can't not see Johnny Depp in a role. Like, anytime I see Johnny Depp in something now, I used to be like, yeah, he disappears in his roles. In this movie, I'm like, that's Johnny Depp with a contact lens.
It's so true.
That's him.
Yeah. Like that.
Got a haircut.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was actually kind of surprised when
Sauvage.
they
Dior. I'm gonna bury my necklaces.
Wasn't that
It's a commercial that's still airing.
a commercial that got a lot of flack?
Oh yeah, I think they got sued by like a Native American tribe or something. Yeah,
because they're like, you're assholes.
Yeah.
No,
Anyway,
but I'm Johnny Depp.
I'm Johnny Depp. Sauvage.
Yeah.
Dior.
I hate perfume commercials.
They're terrible.
They're so dumb.
That commercial specifically, it's running again, and I keep watching it. I'm just like, why are you burying your jewelry? How does that help anyone? How does that make you smell better?
The mob can't find it if you bury it.
I drove out to Nevada. I
buried the evidence.
I took 3 pounds of mescaline. I'm seeing a lot of weird shit, man.
Yo, what's with perfume ads and just being so fucking over the top stupid? I'm like, how does this relate to your product? It's a feeling.
Sorry, Jared goes, every time I see Johnny Depp, I can't not see him being a dick that tried to defy Australian customs.
What? I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No.
He and his wife or girlfriend, I don't know where they were at the time. He and his partner.
He and his Sheila
went to Aussie, Aussie land to go on the coast.
The new theme park in southern Missouri.
And then he had to do a public apology. So they went there, and apparently they weren't allowed to bring their dogs, and they brought their dogs, and it's some sort of vaccine something disease. I don't know. But basically Australia was like, you can't have them. And Johnny Depp and the woman smuggled them in. And Johnny Depp was like, fuck the law. And then they found out, and he got in big trouble. And they kicked him out. I think, Jared, correct me if I'm wrong, but did they not? I think they banned him from the country. Like, he's not allowed to go back there or something.
Australia doesn't fuck around with that shit.
No, they were like, look, We have laws. You break them, fuck out. We were a prison.
Australia, we were a prison. Come visit. Emphasis on the were.
Right.
It's like were is a big capital with underlines. We were a prison.
But yeah, it was one of those
In a transatlantic accent. We were a prison.
We were a prison. Now we're an amusement park. See, come to Perth, eat some Tim Tams.
Eat some Tim Tams and have some Outback beef.
Right, have some Outback beef and an Outback Jack. Quarantine matters. Don't fuck with it. Steve Irwin.
Oh, you remember Steve Irwin?
R.I.P.
Yeah.
So there's one. Sorry, he had to do a bunch of charity stuff.
Oh, good for him.
Or he had his assistant do the chair.
Yeah, they added him in post.
Right. Make it look like it was here.
It was like the boys with the Deep doing.
Otherwise he was going to be banned.
Oh.
So he had to do this stuff to show that he was sorry.
Oh, okay.
He was on the beach picking up garbage with a spear. Put a little stick with a nail at the end, going.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Jared says muck muck. I don't know if that's Australian slang for something.
Oh my God, Justin just said it. It's on the internet now. He said it. He said it.
Yep. I did, and I stand by it. I stand by muck muck. There's one other way that they could have taken the prequels to Harry Potter. Just Avada Kedavras all around.
Avada Kedavras?
Avada Kedavras all around. You know what I'm talking about?
What's that? I think it was that book that didn't get made. It was Harry Potter and the Throwdown.
So today's Throwdown.
Yes.
Today's Throwdown is going to be between two franchises.
Oh.
Steve Irwin doesn't swear. He says muck, not fuck. Oh, well, he doesn't say anything anymore.
That was about a spit take right there.
Sorry,
he doesn't say shit anymore, Jared. Shut your mouth.
I love Steve Irwin, R.I.P. And his family's awesome. I've met them. So
false.
Wonderful blokes and Sheilas. So today we're doing a throwdown between Outback Steakhouse and Outback Jack. Let's do it.
It's got to be Outback Jack. Hands down.
Outback Steakhouse has the bloomin' onion.
Yeah, it's a lie.
It's a thing. I've eaten it.
Sure, but it's not Australian.
And I have shit hardcore after I ate it.
Yeah, because it was a true American meal.
It has things that it will do to your body, Doug.
Of course, just like Olive Garden.
So, Olive Garden is a fucking amazing place.
Okay.
Don't you ever besmirch Olive Garden. Besmirch. Muck muck.
Don't you ever... Muck muck! I'm going to scream that tomorrow at work. That's going to be my goal. Something's going to happen, I go, muck muck! And people are probably going to look at me like, what?
Tonight, when you have sex, to the listeners. Sorry.
Wait, what?
I just assume you're going home too late. When you...
I was like, you're being very presumptuous to think that I'm going to have sex tonight.
When you climax, you need to do one of three things.
Oh, boy.
Either scream muck muck, chugga chugga choo choo, or what was the third thing we had today? Sheila. One of those.
Sheila.
Just go, Sheila! One of those three. Those are your choices tonight.
Oh, my God.
All right, so Outback Steakhouse versus Outback Jack.
Dude, any real Australian place, franchise or otherwise, I will take them kicking the fucking shit out of anything American. Hands down.
We're not talking taste-wise, though. We're talking... You're right.
Just like, in what other way? What?
I feel like the fact,
the kitchen staff fights the American staff. They're fucking dead.
Just the fact that they've got Outback beef, that alone. To your point,
They're
that
like,
alone.
No, that's a knife. Like they will pull out whatever they have.
All right, we've got nukes. Yeah, well, we've got Outback beef. Next.
Yeah, right. They're
muck, motherfucker.
muck, motherfucker. Like, do you know how many poisonous snakes we murder on the way to get to work just to punch in for
What do you think Outback beef is made of?
Yeah, right?
Poisonous snakes.
The bodies of people who got bitten by poisonous snakes and fucking,
Right, Outback beef is just dead carcasses from people who were killed by Australia.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, there's no doubt. Outback Jack. Outback Jack for the win!
Outback Jack for the win!
Quickest one, easiest
Sorry,
one.
Outback Steakhouse. You
lose. Fucking lose.
All day.
Lose, bitch.
You lose, pie.
Yeah, wow, that was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun, man. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
Oh, wow. So what do you got to promote or suggest to our fine listeners?
I am going to strongly recommend Netflix's series, The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. You sounded just like the Chamberlain.
I did not.
Not the second time around. There we go. It is a prequel, which if you've listened to this podcast, you know Doug loathes prequels, and I'm not too big of a fan of them typically. We both agree this prequel, solid shit. Very, very solid. It might buck the...
it might muck.
It might muck our take on prequels.
Yeah.
This really outdid itself. It's a prequel to the 1982 movie, The Dark Crystal, and I strongly recommend that you guys binge it because next week you will be hearing our conversation with an all-star,
yes,
a Mind Gap all-star who's coming back on to talk about it.
Yes.
And this was his request. He's like, can I come on and talk about this? And we said, you can fucking absolutely come on.
Yes. And also,
because we have been wanting to have this guest back for a long time.
Yeah, and not to mention that Justin had never watched anything with the Dark Crystal, and
I knew of like this
Yeah.
weird movie. Like I didn't know.
Yeah.
I'd never seen it, but like I knew it existed, and I've seen like clips, and I never
Yeah.
really got it. After watching this, I'm like, I am into this world hardcore.
Yeah, I was like, I'm really curious how Justin is going to handle this. I don't know if this was his cup of tea, but I was very pleased to hear that you've enjoyed it. So
I have more than enjoyed it.
Yeah, so we will be definitely covering that next time. So if you haven't watched it and you want to avoid spoilers and fucking watch it and then join us next week.
Etoy07, huge fan of the Dark Crystal, apparently. He said finally practical he or she, I'm not sure. So that person,
God damn it, Justin,
said finally practical effects done right.
Mm-hmm.
And leave it to Jim Henson Company to fucking nail puppeteering.
Yeah, they know what's going on with it. It's really well done.
Jared, you absolutely should watch that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I would love to recommend the new album by the band Tiny Moving Parts called Breathe.
Okay.
It's fucking
Is that
incredible.
one with the really weird looking lead singer?
It's funny. I was watching one of their videos before I came over here today, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the guy that Justin doesn't like.
I like him. Great sound, terrible look.
No, I hate labeling genre. I don't like to put people in boxes, but I think the kind of genre is known as Midwest emo or also math rock. That's kind of what they're called.
I have tuned out. You said math.
I know, but it's really, really good. I'm a huge fan. I was a fan of their last album and their album before that, and they just released this last week, and I've been listening to it nonstop. Huge fan. Check it wherever you stream or buy music. It's Tiny Moving Parts, Breathe. It's a fantastic album. Check it out. You won't be disappointed.
There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
You know the episode's done when our water runs out. When the water runs dry.
When the water runs dry.
And I'm also going to throw out Sitch Creek because I have to say it every time. Yeah. It's a fucking amazing show.
Yes. All right. Now, if you want to follow us, you should do it on all our social medias. We're at Mind Gap Podcast, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're also on YouTube. You can find our channel there where we post all of our Twitch streams and our audio and our previous episodes, as well as some additional silliness, such as Doug watches awkward videos and Justin plays video games. I think that's all we do.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
You can also email us, mindgappodcast@gmail.com, if you guys
true.
ever want to talk to us or suggest anything or whatever. And Justin also exists in a digital realm.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It is the fun way of spelling it. And while you're in the online realm, check us out on Apple Podcasts, on Stitcher, on
Spotify,
and on Google Podcasts, wherever podcasts are sold. You can subscribe to us, rate us, review us, like us, share us, all the things that we like when you do. And then 2east8th.com/mindgap. And then just keep an eye on all 2 East 8th stuff. Hopefully sometime this week, we'll be getting a rough cut of Sid Penrose. And then it's on to doing the score for it, color correction, revisions of the cut, and then sound mixing. And then we should be good. So hopefully sometime before the end of October. We'll see? ?
We will see.
Yes.
Awesome. Justin, thank you.
Doug, thank you.
Twitch, thank you.
Yes.
And we will see you all next time, and have yourself a lovely day.
Mind Gap Podcast.